Hello and welcome to the Empower Couples podcast, where here you get modern, non-boring relationship advice for you and your partner to communicate like pros, fight smarter, and stay on the same team no matter the challenge that you face. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Freeman.
And I'm Jocelyn Freeman, but you all just know us as the Freemans.
And this episode is about moving from a functional marriage to being fulfilled and emotionally close.
And this is something that's really important to focus on as you close out this year and start the new year feeling intentional, feeling focused as a couple. Because
and
life,
with a new possibility, I would say.
A new possibility. You don't want to just survive marriage, right? You want to feel as though you are moving forward together. You continue to get better in marriage even through the different seasons. Now, before we get into the content, which we've got some great stuff here, we have been keeping a little secret. We've hinted at it over the last few weeks in the episode, and I know you guys have been so eager and so patient and waiting to hear. So here's the thing. From the over 36,000 couples who have participated in our popular 30-day couples challenges, we've got the Prioritizing Us and the Rebuilding Us challenge. We have continued to receive countless requests to make another round of prompts, especially like the Prioritizing Us. People really loved it. They felt more connected. Their communication was on point. They were feeling a new energy in their relationship. And they kept asking, we want to sign up again.
Is there some more?
Yeah, is there another round? My husband wants to do another round. So we finally listened, you guys. And here's the thing. You got to listen to this. It is only going to be available for January. It will not be available for the rest of the year. It's going to be like a start of the year special edition challenge. And I'm seriously excited about this. We're going to participate in the challenge because it's a little different here. It's called The Best of Us.
Ooh.
And the prompts are designed to bring out the best in each other and the relationship. And the prompts are a little different from the Prioritizing Us challenge and definitely different from the Rebuilding Us. You've got intimacy activities. It's not just about the bedroom. It's about fostering closeness in all areas of your relationship. They're fun, they're flirty, they're going to reignite the spark in your relationship. There are connection prompts. So either unique or unifying questions to just have sometimes it's going to be fun conversations. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit deeper and meaningful and really connect on that level.
And it will add very special for the start of the year, as most people are used to setting new goals, certainly individually, but we're really bringing specific connection prompts about how your marriage can actually start to head towards and achieve a different possibility.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that.
Yes. Now, the third type of prompt is an appreciation gesture. Here's the thing. This challenge is going to have you cultivating appreciation for each other. You're going to be focusing on your strengths. You're going to be bringing out the best in each other, right? Because it's so easy to get into that grind, that routine, even somewhat bring out the worst in each other, if we're honest sometimes, right? So here's the thing. I know you're hearing this and you're like, yes, this is it. I want to sign up. So right now, as you're listening, go to mycoupleschallenge.com/best. You have to do that /, otherwise you're going to go to our main Prioritizing Us challenge. So again, it's mycoupleschallenge.com/best. Get signed up. And look, the bonus resource is a brand new resource that we could sell separately, but we are giving it to you as a free gift. And guess what? We created it and I was like, this is good. Like,
you can be honest, you created it. It's awesome. You
I
don't
did
have to
create
even give
it.
me any credit.
But it's awesome. So it's an at-home date night guide. 4 weeks of fun, simple, and romantic experiences. And we did them as at-home dates because, to be honest, we don't very often get dates outside the house just because of the season that we're in with our daughter. We don't have family in town. Yes, we have access to a sitter, but it's just not the season that we're in. And so we created these at-home date nights that are fun. Some of them are a little spicy, but fun. Again, this challenge and the bonus is all about bringing out the best in each other and the relationship. and just really focusing on intimacy, both emotional and physical, and feeling like that spark again in your relationship, which is going to affect your communication, how you guys handle conflict. It's actually going to reduce conflict. So again, go to mycoupleschallenge.com/best. You can get that bonus resource as soon as you sign up. So anyway, we are excited. You guys kept asking us. You asked for this, so we created it, and we're very, very excited. We're going to participate in the challenge. I'm signing us
Oh,
up.
yeah. Yeah, we're already signed up. So we're excited for that to get started. We really are. Let's dive into this episode here, which really starts to create the foundation for why this Best of Us challenge is often needed and is going to be so powerful. So life is evolution, and so is your marriage. And that's a general statement that I'm sure anyone could accept. And in certain regards, like in nature, you can just see like that's always an evolution. There's birth, there's growth, there's death, there's decay, and then there's the rebirth. And you can see that in nature very easily. And in a sense, I think, not the expert here, but society has its own versions of this growth and decay of trends and ideologies and generations and what's important to them. And then certainly the human biological body, right? That's an evolution in and of itself all the time. And I think we forget that our marriage as an entity, in a way, is also on a path of evolution. And that's a evolution that should be one of growth. And if you don't see it that way and you resist it, then you run into harder times. Kind of just simply stating it. So, a part of being able to define that path of evolution to me is looking at these three states a marriage can exist in. And we're going to focus on, as you can imagine from the title of this podcast, being able to go from, and I'll give you the three states: dysfunction, function, and then connection. And then we're going to use emotional closeness in the connection also. So that's where we want to go. Let's just kick it off with dysfunction. And this isn't a linear sequential order. Depending on the areas you focus on, the challenges you face, your lack of implementing skills that we talk about, love account, repair, the seasons, it's just can take you into a state of dysfunction. So let me give you the characterization of being in dysfunction. Now, it's obvious that you don't want to exist in dysfunction very long. And even if you do, it's not going to be accepted by one or both of you for that long. I mean, maybe you'll make it a couple of years, but it will literally drain you to where I can't be in this any longer.
Right.
And that's sometimes what brings couples to end their relationship. Now, you don't have to, right?
Yes.
We want to say you can get out of dysfunction, but dysfunction is characterized by being in a state of more reaction, of chaos, drama filled. There's harsh starts to conversations towards conflict from what are simple topics. There's more of a desire to be apart or independent. And that has to do with the lack of connection, sometimes more of the pain, the discomfort that you're feeling from these things that happen in your relationship and then likely don't get addressed. So that brings you to like prolonged lack of repair from conflicts or arguments. And then you communicate mostly about the problems. So again, being in this state too long, it's just going to end up in ending the relationship as there's just too much emotional pain, turmoil.
It drains your energy.
And you just, what you need is relief and peace. And that's really the main thing, that while you're in this too long, you're like, I need relief from this. And so most people don't have the equipped skills and tools in the moment. So it looks like, well, ending the relationship is the way to get relief. Obviously, we want to invite you into a different pathway, which would be to eventually move to the next stage, which would be function.
And before you describe what because I know you've got the bridge, you're going to explain like what's the bridge from dysfunction to function. I just want to say what you brought up about not staying in this state too long is very true. And I do want to say that there's nothing wrong if you do go through a short stint of feeling in this. because it could be a culmination of factors, right? Sometimes there's this perfect storm of things going on. For example, you have a newborn baby, one of you loses a job, now you're financially stressed. You don't have great coping mechanisms because you're not sleeping. So you're arguing, your needs aren't getting met, right? But you catch it. You identify that it's going on and you don't let it go past a few weeks, hopefully a few months, right? So that's just an example of like the perfect storm of circumstances, factors, how you guys are handling it. The key is what Aaron said. You cannot let it drag on. And here's the hard part. I'm going to tee you up for going into the bridge. When you're in this state, your motivation is very low because you feel discouraged. Because, and it actually can, we say this to couples when we're talking to them privately, is like it can be this downward spiral because your protective mechanisms come up. Well, fine, they're not loving me the way I want to be loved. They're, this is how conflict is going. And so you can back off, right? You can protect yourself. You can not be as loving. You cannot initiate repair conversations. And then it spirals worse because it's like, wow, not only are we in this hard time, but now you're, more distant, and right, it creates this like negative feedback loop between you both. And so then you perceive the relationship in a more negative light. It's demotivating. And so as Aaron introduces the bridge, you have to realize in these times that you have to anchor to your commitment, that your feelings are not going to feel like taking a stand for your marriage. Your feelings are not going to feel like, I want to be the change, all right, we're going to turn this ship. You might not feel that motivation. So you're going to have to anchor to your commitment, to your vows, what you said in terms of how you're going to handle hard times. So that's a lot of times where you're going to have to pull from is your commitment and just the long term of what you want for your marriage. Then let's go into the bridge, Aaron.
Yeah, so I was thinking of this as maybe 3 different islands that are out in the water, and then so there's like a bridge from each island. So here you are on the dysfunction. And one thing you mentioned I think is key. How do you know you're in the state? I would say it's roughly like 3 months then or more. You can have interactions that are sort of reflective of a dysfunction state, but
like
that
a
might
hard
be,
week or something.
yeah, like a few days or a week. And it's not that we wouldn't have like a few interactions that could exist, but we are saying the state being 3 months or more. So what you need to do to get out of this, the changes that are needed to cross this bridge to function, and I'm not going to give you like specific examples, but you need order, you need structure, you need integrity to follow through on promises and agreements. It's very much a logical bridge of structure, of integrity. And the follow through then builds trust and security to then move to the state of function.
Yeah, just to kind of add on to that, when you talked about this state being marked by chaos, in a sense, your goal isn't even connection yet. It's like we just need some peace.
Yes, exactly.
And so to Aaron's point, we need clear agreements to have
Relief
structure.
sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
We need
relief and peace.
structure. We need, you know what? All right, even if we're bickering, even if we're annoyed with each other, we have to stop the explosive fights by keeping our agreements for times of conflict. If we make promises to each other, we have to follow through. So it's really going from chaos to peace through that structure, through the agreements, keeping your promise. It's all about, like Aaron said, getting that foundation of trust and security.
So some of the particular actions to take then would be, and we've talked about this in various episodes throughout our years, but stop major withdrawals. And so for those of you that have been listening for a while, you know the love account principle, so you know deposits and withdrawals. But to the point you were just making, you're not trying to jump from the island of dysfunction to the island of connection. Like there's an island in between, which is function. So you need to really focus more on reducing the withdrawals that you're making.
The little remarks
because
you make.
those are felt way more than the deposits at this particular state. So focus on stopping the major withdrawals, get clear about the roles and responsibility assignments. Maybe you just never had them, whether it's in the home or the finances or with parenting or a school or work, like whatever it is to manage your life, you have to get really clear on establishing what are the roles and responsibilities, and then you're making the structure, order, agreements, promises around those things. And you need to define what you need to see your partner do to feel security and trust, which by all means could just be that you're making promises on these roles and responsibilities. Because again, you're trying to get to function. Like this isn't
Mm.
working.
Mhm.
And so this is what I need as far as structure and order. And then the follow through has to be 100%.
Not just structure and order like in a like really dry clinical sense, but just like we need more peace. We need more harmony between us.
I need to be able to count on you so that
Mhm.
I can express this part is just not functioning.
Yep.
And so I need this change. You can certainly say to your partner, yeah, I hear you. And you want to keep this kind of independent. Here's what I need. And then you both say, okay, got it. And then you just execute.
Yep.
So if you do that, then you cross the bridge into function. And this is really where we want to focus the episode, right? We want to be able to go from function to closeness because there's a number of things I want to speak to, which I see differences in men and women.
Mm.
And men can exist in the function longer than women. So I want to get to that part.
Mhm.
So function is really characterized by getting things done, and you can just see the contrast from the dysfunction.
Mhm.
Now you're getting things done and managing tasks well together. There's a feeling of trustworthiness, of reliability, and you each get done what you say you're going to get done. Then, like you said, there brings this sense of peace and calm and reliability, and I can count on my partner. That brings just kind of this overall relief. And it's a huge win from being in dysfunction. It really is. I'm not taking anything away from that. Being in function, when you're comparing it to dysfunction, is a major win.
Yep.
But being in this state too long can diminish the passion, the excitement, and the enthusiasm you feel to where you're more like roommates, good friends, or coworkers.
Yeah.
And like I said, the timing of which a partner is willing to stay in this state is going to vary based on both personality and I'll also say gender. So for many men that I talk to, this is the goal. We get the function, and so long as we can stay here,
Yeah.
like
If we're not
this is
arguing
really
and we're
great.
functioning well.
And that's often what happens, right? We'll say to a couple, "Hey, how's it going this week?" Like when we're coaching them, and the male partner will say, "It's going great." We're like, "Why?" There weren't any conflicts. It's like, okay, all right, great. We see your metric here,
Yeah.
and then it's not like you're totally seeing life differently, but maybe a female partner says, well, it went fine. We continued on the function aspects, but it was only okay for me. And it's like, well, why is there that difference? Well,
Mhm.
the female partner wants to have crossed the bridge from now function to closeness a lot sooner. And that has to do with emotional needs and personality. But I've got some
Yeah,
actions,
yeah.
but let me see if you have something you want to share
I
on
mean,
that.
I think you said so much that's clear. I think, yes, those differences both in personality, like definitely people who tend to be more of like the type A, or they're definitely like great task oriented. Like you and I, we're task oriented. We are people of integrity. We get things done. And so we can lose sight of the bigger picture of life, right? And that it's not just about getting things done. There's also fulfillment, there's connection. I was going to
Yeah, I
just
was
add,
gonna say that,
mhm.
and yeah, I don't want to give the picture we're not fulfilled because
No,
there's
no,
something about our
it's
personalities that
focus. It's
really
about the
does like
focus.
love. Yeah, our vision is really clear. We're gonna get to
Hmm.
that. We really track that progression. We've really focused on sky, which most parents would say. But I do want to throw that admission out about us. Both of our personalities are similar enough that I
Hmm.
think we both could exist in function and kind of be satisfied with that for longer. So for us, it's just no question that we're always in function. Like there's no doubt
Yeah.
for trustworthiness, follow through, integrity. And so for us, the work is really noticing earlier on when we're in seasons where
We're not
we've kind
prioritizing
of walked
connection.
back a little bit
Mhm.
from the closeness, maybe kind of on top of that bridge, getting a little closer to the function
I
island.
will I will add, because we get insider information from our sessions, that when couples, after they've worked with us for a period of time, they've gotten away from the dysfunction to function, because now they have more energy and focus that's no longer being wasted on the dysfunction and the chaos and the
Oh, yeah.
conflict.
Good point.
Now it does become so much more about seeing the intimacy that might be missing.
Mhm.
And, I will say that to your point, yes, men can stay in the function longer. Like they're like, oh, we're good because we're not arguing. They will still want to feel desired, especially around physical intimacy. And so I just wanted to point that out of like, it doesn't mean they don't they only want to be like roommates. They do
Yeah.
still see that gap of like, do you want me? Do you want to initiate intimacy? So do you want to get into that bridge more?
Yeah, so let's talk about the bridge here from function to connection. And what you have to realize is that it takes more of a focus on, for those of you in personal development, well, attitude, but also your way of being with each other while you're getting tasks done.
Mm-hmm.
So start to think that in both scenarios, function and closeness, you could observe a couple and they're both getting the same things done. Now, technically, I would say there's probably a range in function. So if you're visualizing these three islands with this bridge, it's like you could have landed at the front of function, and then obviously you could cross the island towards the other end of
Mm-hmm.
function. So there would be a range of your level of integrity and level of function. But that aside, it's about being able to notice what your attitude is while you complete these tasks. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I could, for example, be doing dinner, right? I
Yep.
mean, we do a lot of videos in our kitchen, so I could be, I could be
Prepping the
prepping, I
items.
could be in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and my way of being could be slightly irritated from something that happened. I could really just be focusing on myself. I could just be focusing on the task at hand. And so, if you can visualize your partner, Jocelyn could come and walk through the kitchen. So I don't really make any particular gesture, no comment. It's just kind of existing. It's very functional.
Coexisting. Yep.
And so that's where you start to see the big difference in function to closeness. At least the initial bridge is I'm making dinner and now I'm generating an attitude
Mm.
of whether it's appreciation, whether it's noticing you, whether it's an initiative to show you that I care and I've appreciated various things you did this day or week, right? It's a focus on the emotional environment between us.
And the experience that both of
Hmm.
you are having, right? Like, is it boring or is it playful, right? Are we just
Exactly.
there coexisting or are we engaged and connected?
Hmm. And so, again, in this range, then there's really the opportunity to show that you care, add effort, show desire to understand and meet the evolving emotional needs of your partner, also being less serious, more playful, like you're saying. Now, if you're at a high level of function, the integrity part, it's all just taking care of itself.
Mm.
So now you realize that, you know what? I could sacrifice through my proactive communication, not just getting something done, but that rather than clean the kitchen, which is a part of my integrity, I communicate to you, hey, you know what? Forget the dishes, forget the kitchen, forget the toys in our daughter's room. Let's sit down. Let
Yeah.
me grab your hand. So I start to forego just the functioning activities, noticing that our emotional and just experience of life is important in the fulfillment. That's
Yep.
what starts to move us really solidify into connection, right? So I know I'm saying a lot. Let me give you some specific actions on this bridge, again, from function to closeness. You have to be more aware of your own emotional state as you do things, generating more enthusiasm, engagement, and the opportunity for emotional connection and understanding with your partner, not just the tasks. You show more interest in hearing about your partner's emotional experiences, whether through the day or week, and initiation of activities to shift the emotional environment from routine, and if it's too long, you could say boredom,
Mm.
to newness, dare we say, adventure and excitement.
Yes. I think the big factor of this bridge is intentionality.
Totally.
That connection doesn't
Maybe that's even
just
the name of the bridge.
yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't just happen by accident. And you can't just bank on a date night. Whether you're lucky enough to get it once a week, which is more rare for couples, maybe it's a once a month date, or the couple, we love it when couples say to this, oh, we have a vacation coming up in 6 months. It's like, Okay, what do you plan on, or we went on vacation 3 months ago, that was great. Okay, but your life is made up of your day-to-day interactions.
Right.
And so, again, I was really thinking about this, that the hard part about this intentionality bridge is it takes a bit more energy. And look,
Yeah.
we understand being tired. And look, last week we were both so sick. We were just now getting better. We were barely
Yeah,
making it.
we acknowledge if you've been following the podcast, we didn't even get to episode last
No,
week.
we were so unwell, and we were just surviving and getting through the day as parents and like trying to eat and all the things. But my point is, when we're not unwell and it's just a day in, day out, the week, and you're getting, we know you've got a lot on your plates, whether it's the holiday season or not, and you don't have a lot of energy left over. After we put our daughter to bed and we finished our workday and everything we're responsible for, we're really tired. And so we do have to find a way to not like exhaust ourselves, but to still preserve some energy for each other. And it requires that intentionality. That's why, I think the challenge, just being honest, is so perfect because you don't have to think about it, and we're giving you the fun prompts to do. But you still, when we make them, we're very thoughtful about how you might not have a
Parents,
lot of time or
usually.
energy, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to be parents to be in the challenge, but we're thinking of that. And we want to prove to you through our challenges that with just the little things, with just preserving a little energy, a little focus for each other, it goes a long way in your day-to-day interactions.
That's why I mentioned once you're at a high level of integrity and function, then it really does have to be a weighted value system for connection and for fulfillment rather than the prioritization of just getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have unlimited capacity. And that's why I acknowledge you for those at home. Well, they're
Dates.
not at home per se, but they really are made for those that don't really have that time to set up a date. For
Mm-hmm.
me personally, nothing wrong with anyone else sharing this. Hearing people talk about the date night, I'm like, it's just not it.
Well, because
It's
a lot of
just,
couples just think of going to dinner and it's like the same old, same old.
and well, that's even a good example.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can go to dinner and you can still be in that same attitude of function.
Yeah.
It's like it's not necessarily driving you across this bridge to connection. So let me make sure we get
Sure,
to
yeah.
then connection and we can dive further. So being on the island of connection, which is also another way to think of it is emotional closeness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's characterized by feeling seen, known, and accepted by each other about your positive and negative experience of life. And I would also say personality trait differences. We talked about this with the SPA or PSA model, right? It's like perception, skills, acceptance. So I know it's a different
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
but you can't be in a place of dysfunction or even just function with a certain attitude and then be asking for levels of acceptance from your partner about, again, poor patterns of communication, conflict
Mm-hmm.
resolution, or just poor attitude in general. Like that's not the place to ask for acceptance. In connection, because of the level of function that you have, again, you're now really accepting and wanting to hear about the positive and negative experiences that you're both having because it brings you closer to the understanding of who the person is that you're partnered with.
Yeah.
And that's what connection is. It's me feeling understood that you understand all of me,
Yeah.
not just the positive, but also the negative experiences that I'm having.
I think if I could describe connection as well, is that it really comes down to what you described, that emotional closeness. So I think connection comes down to that emotional opening up to each other, that interest in each other's emotions, and not just, oh, did you run that errand? Like going deeper into, do we know how each of us is like really experiencing life? I also think, and they're both E words, that experiences together. are really special, that you aren't just running errands, that you stop and do something a little fun together, even if your kids are with you. Or here's another piece that really creates a lot of connection for you and I is when we're clear on like what we're pursuing together and not just in our business, because we know not all of you, maybe not even a small percentage of you are in business together, but we unite over what our goals are, over what we want next. What are the bucket list items that we're going to check off together? Because life is also about experience and we can lose sight of that. And that's a big way that I know a lot of people get close is yes, through conversation, which communication conversation is a big form of connection. But a lot of people also connect over experiencing something either interesting, exciting, special, out of the routine.
Voluntarily hard and challenging. Like
Sometimes
if
challenges.
Yeah, if you and not in a unforeseen thwarting your future perspective,
Mhm.
but it's something as simple as doing a challenge course together, right? Or if there's something that neither of you are good at, say roller skating, and you decide we're both going to try to get better at roller skating together that we're not good at, you're going to fall, you're going
Roller
to
skating
support
is a
each
funny
other,
thing to pick.
it's going to be funny, you're going to laugh. And so anything like that where you're voluntarily putting yourself in a place to challenge yourself
Mhm.
and then to see how each other shows up, you might find that you're very drawn to her. You admire how your partner shows up in adversity. And in this case, it's chosen adversity.
Mm.
The more you build that skill, I think then you can translate that into the unforeseen, uncontrolled situations of life. And by being on the same team and maintaining this closeness and connection, you may find admiration for how your partner showed up in this unforeseen situation. And that's a powerful connection and bond to be able to form with your partner.
I love that. One other thing that's really coming to mind strongly is that a big thing that makes me feel connected is that the energy and the dynamic between us is like I feel accepted by you. I feel appreciated by you. I feel loved, adored. Like just that energy dynamic is
Hmm.
really important, right? Like again, you could be asking me a question at dinner, but if I feel that your attitude towards me is like you genuinely are like interested, you're engaged, you think I'm beautiful, you think like just those little things, right?
Hmm.
I hope that's making sense of just how important the energy is that you bring to the table, literally, like your dinner table or your kitchen. Um, that's so important because what can make me feel definitely disconnected is if I feel any judgment
Hmm. Hmm.
or you're
Blame.
critiquing me or it's that's not good enough. And that's what can happen so often in marriages the longer you're together, or if you do really get in that functional state, is then it starts to become like a performance scorecard.
Oh, mm.
I mean, really,
Yeah,
right? Isn't
sure.
that true? It's
Mhm.
like kind of like, oh, well, you're not keeping up with that standard. And it's like that isn't an environment that
Mm.
brings out the best in each other.
Oh.
And this is,
Look how you link to the best of us.
I know I keep mentioning it, but I'm serious. We are doing this. We created this challenge for
I
ourselves
know I'm
too,
nervous.
because we want to, just start the year off like feeling that. I know that spark can be overused, but feel like we're bringing out the best in each other and the relationship. And I'm just very very excited about these prompts.
Yeah, so it starts January 1st, just so
Hmm.
that's clear, and we have some time. So really set yourself up. I mean, you're going to be participating with us, or I should say, we're going to be participating with you guys,
Yeah.
really going day by day for the 30 days, the best of us, even though we know what the activities are ahead of time. So to round this out, I just want to say in the connection island, since that's the visual analogy, communication is very proactive,
Hmm.
which is different from the reactionary of dysfunction or the task focused communication of the function. So, like you said, more focus and intention about elevating the experience of life and expanding the breadth of experiences and possibility that your life can be together.
Yeah. I love the islands because I think it gives people like a destination that they're focusing on, and just remember that there's nothing wrong with where you're at. This isn't about, diagnosing yourselves and oh, there's something wrong here. It's just about having the awareness. Where are we right now? And to the Freeman's points, what do we need to focus on? And we're a team. And you know what? In marriage, there are many different seasons. And so just focus on what you can control, your actions, what you choose to do, what you're focusing on, and really look at this transition to a new year as an opportunity to create a fresh start. Like it is really something powerful to see the start of the year as drawing a line in the sand. What do we want to leave behind pattern wise and, habits we've been in? And what do we want to start fresh in? How do we want to start the year together? So be intentional. Whether you're going from dysfunction to function or function to connection island. I feel like it's a new kind of like Netflix show name or something.
The Dysfunction Island?
No, the Function Island or Connection Island. That's what I mean.
Oh, Connection Island.
But that you're intentional. And remember, it does not happen by accident. You can't sit back and hope intimacy comes back. Hope that you feel that spark again. Hope that you stop arguing. It really comes down to the intentionality and what you can control. So we hope that this episode was enlightening, valuable. Please send us a message if it was. And again, do not wait to get signed up for the challenge. I'd hate for you to forget to sign up because we're only making it available for January. Again, we're not going to have it open for the rest of the year. It's like a special edition kickoff to the new year. So go to mycoupleschallenge.com/best. We'll also link that in the show notes. And it's worth signing up early, not only so that you don't forget, because again, you'd be really bummed if you're like, dang it, I missed it. But because then you get that date guide and you can schedule them, right? Like you can read, because you get it right in your welcome email. So you can schedule your dates. You can talk about who's, going to take care of which week and the other and get excited about it. You could even have one of the dates before the end of the year. Yeah. So anyway, we're beyond excited if you can tell. But let's start the year off with connection being a real priority in the relationship. So we will talk to you guys on the next episode.